friends, welcome to day number 3 of my makeup collection and declutter week for 2018. If this is the first video of this series that you are seeing, this week I've basically been going through my entire makeup stash, showing you guys the products that I own and trying to declutter some of the stuff that's old or that I know that I don't use so it can find new homes with people that will love and appreciate them. So earlier this week we did all of my face products. So I did like foundations, concealers, powders, setting sprays, all that jazz on Monday. Yesterday we did blushes, bronzers, highlighters, and face palettes. And today's video is probably the one that y'all are most going to be excited about, because we're going to be talking about eyeshadow palettes. I have a small, minor obsession with eyeshadow palettes. I have more than I should have because it's more than any one person needs. But I love them. I love having options. I love having all different kinds of colors and finishes so I can create all kinds of fun different looks. But I don't need everything that I have, so I know we're definitely going to need to give some of this stuff away. So be with me, guys. Be my support. I need your help while I go through my eyeshadow palettes. If you guys are new to my channel, my name is Lauren. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Normally I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but this week is special because of this series, so I'm uploading every day, Monday through Friday, so that way you can see my entire makeup collection and help me declutter it. I hope you'll click that subscribe button down below if you want to see more of my beauty videos in the future. And in the meantime, let's get into today's declutter, despite the fact that I'm kind of dreading having to get rid of my eyeshadow palettes. Alright, so here we go, guys. I have started out with all of my drugstore palettes here. So we are going to open these bad boys up one at a time, look at them, and decide whether or not I am going to keep them. Let's start with this guy right here. This is the Happy Birthday palette from NYX. This was a gift I got from Ulta. Ulta changes their birthday gifts quarterly, so this was the one from the summer and the beginning of the fall. It is a really beautiful palette with all kinds of like nice, very on-trend, warm, fall-toned shades. This is really pretty, but I know I don't reach for it nearly enough because I definitely have these shades in other palettes, so I think even though this is really cool and was kind of like a limited edition thing, I think I'm going to pass this along to a friend because I know I'm just not getting as much use out of it as I would like to. Then there's this guy. This is the Saharan palette from Juvia's Place, and oh my goodness, this is just an absolutely stunning freaking palette. These shades are just so pigmented, it's unreal. Let me swatch some of this for you guys. This is that shade Kia. Isn't that so cool? It just like got this like duochromatic reflect to it. Then you have this shade here which is called Fula, which is more of like a pink. So beautiful. And then even like this orange matte shade is just crazy ridiculous. So this is something that's not going anywhere. I love this palette, and I think Juvia's Place definitely has one of the best eyeshadow formulas out there. Very underrated because it's not sold at Sephora and Ulta, so if you haven't ever checked out Juvia's Place, I would say go and do it. Now this little guy right here is something newer to me. I got this from BoxyCharm. It's the Winky Lux Kitten palette, and I think this is actually really a stunning little palette. It has some really pretty shades, and these are also like very pigmented. Really, really nice. Let me swatch this for you guys so you can see. Look at that swatch. How absolutely gorgeous is that metallic? And this palette retails for I think $25, so it's really very affordably priced. So yeah, I definitely have not had a chance to play around with this enough, so I'd like to use it more. It's something I'm thinking about doing one of my 3 looks with 1 palette type tutorials, because I think you could do a lot of really fun looks with this, so definitely going to hold on to the Kitten palette. Another one that I definitely want to hold on to is this Pixie and its Judy Time palette. This is a favorite of mine. I know I talked about this in my Best of Beauty from 2017. Such gorgeous shades, really easily wearable for every day. These like transition colors are really nice. They're a little bit on the drier side, I would say, like texture-wise. The transition color is kind of hard to show up on my skin. Let me do one that's a little bit darker. So there's one of like the deeper shades. They're just very smooth, very buildable. I love this bronzy shade here. Oh my goodness, so pretty. So this is one of those palettes that's just very friendly for every day. It swatches really beautifully and it retails for about $25. So if you're looking for a really great drugstore palette to add to your collection, I would definitely recommend this Pixie one. It's pretty bomb. Something else that I know I'm going to keep is the Magic palette by Juvia's Place. This is something I recently just got, and look at these shades, guys. They are just absolutely stunning. And again, if the Saharan palette was awesome, this palette is also equally cool. The metallics in this and the duochromatic shades are just so crazy. Look at that. How about this, like, what? Just so cool. Such unique shades, and the pigmentation is like seriously unparalleled. So yeah, definitely looking forward to playing around with this more because I've barely tried it out, and this is going to be the palette that I create 3 looks with this month in January, so be on the lookout for that. Now, this little guy here, I'm a little bit torn with. This is the NYX Avant Pop palette, and this is a really nice drugstore eyeshadow palette. It's really fun for summertime because you have a lot of neutrals and then you have some fun pops of color. Like, look at that blue. Of course, I just stuck my finger in the black, but like, that's really, really cool. And like, the pigmentation on that is really quite nice, actually. And even the like matte shades, like this is that taupey color, blends out really beautifully, is really nice. And so, you know, I had used this, I would say, back maybe a summer or 2 ago, but I haven't used it a ton recently. So this is something I may declutter. I'm going to put it aside in the declutter. I may keep it if I end up decluttering more, but if something has to be on the chopping block, this might be it. Now, I don't have a ton of Morphe palettes. This is the one like standard traditional 35 pan palette that I've got. It's the 35B palette, which is for bolds, and this is just a ton of fun. This is like a bajillion fun, bright shades that I definitely feel like sparks some creativity. Like, you've got this cool lime green color, you've got hot pink, because, you know, maybe someday I'll feel inspired by hot pink. Like, but look how pigmented these are. It actually really is pretty cool. You've got this like yellow metallic shade. I mean, there's no denying that for the price, this palette is definitely pretty awesome. I mean, it's 25 bucks or $20, not even 25, I think it's 20 bucks. And you get all these really cool shades, and they are pretty nice formula-wise. So this is something I definitely intend on keeping for whenever I feel like getting super creative and rainbowy, for sure. Now, this is also a Morphe palette, but this was originally limited edition. This is the Jaclyn Hill palette. This one is more expensive than the original 35 pan palettes. This one's $38 instead of like 20 or 25 bucks, whatever the Morphe palettes cost. And this is now something you can get at Ulta, and I have used this palette a lot. It was one of my 2017 favorites because it just got a ton of really cool, beautiful, unique shades. You have tons of transitions, you have some fun pops of color, like again this turquoisey blue shade. Let's do some swatches. How fun is that right there? And then you've also got things like, I love these more pink tone metallics, really pretty. And then you have mattes, like, oh my goodness, this reddish shade here, really super beautiful. So this is a palette that's definitely sparked my creativity this year. It's definitely been a source of like going out looks, everyday looks. I definitely really enjoy it a lot. So, you know, if you don't own this palette and you like these warm tone shades, it's definitely a solid investment. You get a lot of options for the amount of money that you're spending. So I don't foresee any reason why I would be getting rid of this palette anytime soon. And then this guy is the Makeup Revolution Neutrals versus Neutrals palette. Now, this I got, it's $10, and I thought it might be a fun dupe for the Sweet Peach palette. In the beginning of 2017, I did like a comparison video using those two palettes, and you can actually create some very similar looks with the two of them. So, you know, I honestly haven't been reaching for this very much, but I should, I think, pull it out again. I know a lot of people have asked me to do more looks with this palette, so maybe this will be something in 2017 that I'll do a 3 looks with 1 palette type video, or at least maybe use it in another getting ready with me or something like that, because I know I haven't been using it as much as I should, but it's a very popular palette and I know people would like to see me do more with this. And then the last affordable palette that I have is this one from Carity. My best friend Brittany just got me this for Christmas. I've never tried a Carity palette before. This is what it looks like on the inside. Look, I haven't even taken the little sheet off of it. It is literally brand spanking new, and these colors look so much fun. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. Should we swatch some and see what they look like? I'm really intrigued about this blue here called Fairy Tale. Looks pretty, so let's give it a swatch. Is a little on the sheer side, but could be buildable, which is nice. Sometimes you don't want your eyeshadows to be insanely pigmented. Let's try this purple metallic. Ooh yeah, that looks nice. Fun. Maybe this pink shade down here. This one's called Magical. See what that looks like. Oh yeah. This could be fun to play with. I love me some pastels, and I really don't have a palette with this particular shade selection in my collection, so thank you, Brittany. You're the bomb. I definitely look forward to playing around with this more in the new year. And then I have all of my high-end eyeshadow palettes, of which there are several. And so we'll go through these again one at a time and see if there's anything that I can part ways with. To be honest, I think I might declutter this Tarte palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Volume 2 palette. It's really beautiful, but it's not something that I reach for very often. These shades are all very neutral, and they have a really weird texture that's like kind of creamy, but it's also kind of sheer at the same time. It's like almost like a putty formula, but a little bit drier than a putty formula. I don't know. Some of them are really pigmented, like that highlighting shade is absolutely gorgeous. Then you've got this like gray tone shade, really pretty. You have this like neat kind of bluish color here. I mean, it's a really beautiful palette, don't get me wrong. I think that because I have so many other palettes, and this is basically brand new, I would rather give this to somebody who would use it and love it than have it be unused in my collection. On the flip side, I have the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette, and they actually gave this to us at Generation Beauty New York, which was freaking awesome. I wouldn't have probably thought to buy this palette with my own money, but now that I have it, I actually really love it. It's basically a metallic palette. There's one matte shade that's nice for transitions, but oh my goodness, these are so buttery and so shiny and reflective. They're absolutely stunning. I love this like peachy tone shade here, and you could use this as a highlight even on the face, would look really cool. This shade Trance down here is one of my personal favorites for all over the lid. I think it looks so cool. And then you have like this frosty blue shade called Mystic. Look at how neat that is, like, oh my goodness. So yeah, these are really, really stunning. And then the center here is this like iridescent shade. And this is a little bit more sheer, but it makes like a pretty inner corner highlight. So yeah, I think I definitely am going to hold on to the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette because it's just very stunning, unique, really beautiful. And I thought this was amazing for them to give this to us at Gen Beauty because it is like a pricey little palette. I think it's like $40 or something like that. So I don't want to give this guy up yet. And then I have one final Tarte palette. This is the Tarte Tartist Pro palette, which I absolutely love this, you guys. It is one of my favorite palettes ever. I use this on my wedding day. It is just a gorgeous collection of 16 mattes and 4, they call them duochromes, but they're really not duochromes. They're pretty much just straight up metallic shades. But these, they are a slightly drier formula, but they are so pigmented. Let me zoom so you guys can see. Look at that. Just like, oh my god, they blend out so beautifully. I love this like sort of peanut buttery shade up here. Stunning. Then you have some really nice transition colors like this shade Bold. Just like, look at how buttery and beautiful. And then the more duochrome shades, they do pack a shine, but it's definitely, I wouldn't call them duochromatic. Like, I don't see multiple colors reflected in these shades, but they are still really pretty. So this palette is not going anywhere. I absolutely love it, adore it, use it all the time. It is wonderful for everyday kind of makeup looks. And then there's this guy. This is the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. This was something that was limited edition back in 2016, 2015? No, 2016, I think. This was a 2016 holiday release. This thing is absolutely bananas. You have a bunch of these Metal Crush shadows and then a bunch of these matte shadows. They actually just came out with like a little mini version of this for holiday 2017 that has a lot of these warmer tone shades in it. So if you missed out on this palette and you like this kind of color selection, you may want to check out the mini metal matte palette that you can get right now. But this is like one of the coolest eyeshadow palettes that I own. It has such fun colors, but they're like a little bit more muted. They're not quite as vibrant as like the Morphe palette was. But oh my god, I love this purpley shade. Silk is really beautiful. You have cool shades like this color Moss. Like, look at that green. So neat. And then you have, of course, the Metal Crush. Like, look at this silver one called Tinsel. Like, what? How neat is that? So yeah, this is definitely the kind of palette that is very unique and difficult to come by, and I don't really want to declutter it because it's limited edition and it's special and it's beautiful, so I think I will be holding on to this. This is something we really need to talk about. This is the Urban Decay Naked palette, and honestly, I've had this for an eon. This is probably one of the first high-end palettes that I ever purchased myself, and it's beautiful, and I do think that it's a cult classic for a reason, but I almost never use it. Like, I love this shade Sidecar. I think it's really unique and really cool. Like, it's just such a pretty shimmery taupe color. Like, when I first got this palette, that was one of my favorites. I also really like Half Baked, really beautiful. And even some of the like mattes, like Buck here is a really nice transition color. But this is old and it's getting dried up, and I really just, I know I don't reach for it that often because I have so many other palettes that I like even better. So you know what, guys? I think I should just declutter this. I think, you know, if someday I really feel inclined to buy this again, then maybe I will, but like, I don't know. I think it's finally time to say goodbye to the Urban Decay Naked palette. Something that I know I do definitely want to keep is this Jouer Skinny Dip palette. This is newer to me. I bought this with my own money at Generation Beauty New York because it's just stunning and I just could not pass it up. This is a really unique palette because all of these shadows are like intensely shimmery and foiled. They're not even just like your normal metallic shadow. They're like, I don't know how to describe it. They're just like glittery gorgeousness. Let me do some swatches for you guys. This is the shade Magic Hour. Look at that. Oh my god, so pretty. Then you have like the shade Bikini here, super pretty. The shade Starlight, like if you want that like beautiful silvery sort of reflect on your eyes. These are just like metal, and to be honest, like the camera doesn't even pick up the full like glitteriness that these shadows pack a punch with. Like if you're out in the sunlight, they just sparkle so beautifully. So I definitely intend on keeping this palette in my collection and using it for special occasions. Now this is the Pure Cosmetics Soiree Diaries palette. This was something I got in a BoxyCharm, and this is a really beautiful little palette. I like that it kind of has like a nice little gradient from warm to cool neutrals. You've got 4 shimmery shades and then 8 matte shades, and this is again just a really nice everyday palette. The shadows are very soft, but they are a little bit more on the dry side. Like that one's of course not going to show up because it's like the same color as my skin. This one though will be a little bit better. Yes, that's the shade Stunner. Let me zoom you in. And then you have like, I love the metallics in this. They're really pretty. They are a little crumbly, as you can see, but if you apply them with your fingers, they do pack a nice pretty little shine. So this is a palette, again, I'd like to use more in the new year and create some more looks with it because it is very, very beautiful, and I think the price point's not too crazy. I think it's under $40, so it won't break the bank compared to some other palettes, so I will be holding on to this. Now I have 2 Lorac palettes. This is the Lorac Pro 3 palette, and then I have the Lorac Unzipped Gold palette. And you know, I don't reach for these as much as I would like to. This Lorac Pro palette, like I got it because I do like the shades in it. I think they're pretty, and I wanted to have a Lorac Pro palette to be able to talk about the Pro formula on my channel. And you know, I kind of part of me doesn't want to get rid of this just because I do want to have a Lorac Pro palette, and I do think the shades are pretty. I just find that they tend to muddy together fairly easily, so the looks you create with this palette on the eyes end up looking relatively similar. It might be interesting to do a 3 looks with this palette type challenge just to see how different of looks I can actually come up with this palette. But I have a similar issue with this one, the Lorac Gold Unzipped palette. Beautiful, beautiful palette. This shade right here, called Unpredictable, is like, oh my god, so cool. I love these like duochromatic pinky gold type shades. And then you have some nice buttery mattes. I mean, it is really pretty, but this has even less variety in it than the Pro palette does. And I mean, I know that I definitely have these neutral type shades, you know, in other palettes, so I think I should declutter the Unzipped Gold. Like, I know some people who would love this palette, so I think it might be better off in a new home. And I think I'll hold on to the Pro 3 for now. Now this guy is a limited edition Anastasia Beverly Hills palette from a couple of years ago. This is the Self-Made palette. Oh my god, this is so amazing. The shade Pink Champagne I have made a pretty serious dent in. This just had such unique, beautiful colors, and the formula is just absolutely stunning on this palette. I love it so much. So I don't really want to declutter this because I don't know. It's something you can't get anymore. It was a really special limited edition kind of palette, and I just think that it's so pretty. Like this shade Deep Purple, so cool. Little like patchy, but once you blend it out, I think that it looks really nice. I know I've used this shade Hot and Cold a whole bunch. This is a really pretty bronzy type tone. Of course, then you have Pink Champagne, which is just super cool, very glittery and reflective. Hot Chocolate is a really beautiful matte shade. So yeah, this is just a unique, really cool, colorful palette, and it's something that I just, you know, I don't know, has some nostalgic value, so I think I am going to hold on to the Self-Made palette for one more year. Alright, y'all know, the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, this is not going anywhere. I love the Sweet Peach palette. This is just like a warm toned shadow lover's dream. These are really easy to work with, very pigmented. I use the shade Summer Yum and Puree like legit all the time. The shade Delectable is such a cool purpley like shade to deepen up the crease. White Peach is a great brow bone highlight. Nectar, beautiful in the inner corners. I like Peaches and Cream and Georgia to kind of like soften out transitions. It's just a really gorgeous palette, and it smells to die for. So I definitely cannot get rid of the Sweet Peach palette anytime soon. And last, I have this guy from Laura Mercier. Oh my god, I love this palette. I talk about this palette like every year because it's so beautiful and so unique, and like nobody talks about it. But it's a stunning palette. This is the iArt Artists palette. Oh my goodness, you've got like this shade African Violet, which is like one of the coolest like duochromatic purpley gold type shades. You have this shade Truffle, which literally feels like butter, and it's just like so easy to work with. Then you have Guava, which is like a really pretty pinky kind of shade. Oh my god, this palette is like everything. It's what dreams are made of. These shadows feel expensive, as are, you know, all Laura Mercier products are kind of crazy expensive, but totally worth it in my opinion. I really, really love this. It's not going anywhere. And then these are all of my like small little eyeshadow palettes. So these I think will be easier to declutter. This is a little trio from Wet n Wild. I actually really want to try the new Wet n Wild. Like I think they used to be 5 or 6 pan palettes or 8 pan palettes. I don't know, the bigger palettes, but now they've made them even larger and they look really cool. So I think I'm going to declutter this in anticipation that I'm going to get some new Wet n Wild palettes in the future. I also think I'm going to declutter this little trio from Naked Cosmetics. I got this in a boxy charm, and I think while these shades are really cool, I just like never reach for these. And I know I have similar shades to all 3 of these in other palettes, so this definitely would be better off finding a new home. I am so obsessed with this little Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. Haha, obsessed. I just used this as a December 3 Looks 1 palette, and I was able to create 3 pretty different looks, even though this is a very monochromatic palette. I love the formula on this little guy. It's definitely very pigmented and fun to work with, so gonna be certainly keeping this in my collection. The same thing goes for the Dose of Colors, the Girls palette. This was a limited edition collaboration with Desi Perkins and Katie, who is Luster Lux. Dude, guys, can we please talk about how absolutely stunning these eyeshadows are? They're just so cool, and the packaging on this palette is like goals. It is absolutely stunning. So this is something you can't get anymore. It was difficult to get your hands on even in the first place. I actually just used this the other night. I used this green shade, which is called Harpoon. Really cool all over the lid. It looks even more stunning on the eyes than it does in the pan, guys. You just gotta trust me on this. So definitely not decluttering this, like, you know, ever. I think even after it expires, I'll just keep this and like put it somewhere on a shelf because it's just too pretty to ever throw away. Something else I really love is this little Blink Electric Eyes palette. We got this in a BoxyCharm, obviously, as it says on the front of the packaging. I am the idiot who freaking dropped this and cracked two of my most favorite shades, of course, because I'm dumb. But this is so freaking beautiful. I can't even. This is like the most buttery, metallic palette of life. It like literally feels creamy on your hands. Look at that, guys. Like, what the heck? Oh my god, it blows my mind. It's so good. I think if you can get this, I think you can buy this on the Blink website now, and I think it was like $25 the last time I saw it. And seriously, $25 for shadows that are this ridiculously beautiful is totally worth it. But yeah, I will not ever give this up. It is way, way too pretty to ever declutter. Now, something I think I might declutter is this Maybelline City Mini palette. This is nice, actually, and I will say that these shadows performed better than any other Maybelline shadows I've ever tried, but I obviously have all of these shades in other palettes that I like more. So I think while I bought this to test out and, you know, be able to review as a drugstore product for you guys, I used this in some videos for the summer if you want to see it in action, but I just don't think I'm going to be reaching for it very much anymore, so I'd rather pass it along to somebody else. And then this palette, I don't think I ever will have the heart to part with this. This was a limited edition collaboration between Ciate and Olivia Palermo. This palette is life. Oh my god, these eyeshadows are so beautiful, and they just look even more stunning on the eyes than they do in the pan. You've got all these really nice matte transition shades and then a bunch of metallic, oh my god, just like very rich, fall, beautiful tones. I need to use this again. I haven't reached for it in a little while because I've been trying so many other palettes. And obviously you can't get this anymore, so I don't really like to talk about it on my channel, but it is just an absolute stunner, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. So you will not ever part from me. Ciate Olivia Palermo palette. Okay, so this is one of those weird products that's stupid expensive for what it is, and the packaging is insanely gorgeous, but I don't really use it, but I kind of feel like, how the heck could I ever give this away? This is a YSL palette. It is the Couture Mon Paris Plumette Edition. Basically, this thing is a special limited edition palette for their Mon Paris perfume, inspired by the colors of that fragrance, and it's a beautiful palette. Like, the colors are really smoky and gorgeous, and this thing is like $60 something, which is ridiculous. And I got this in PR, like in a little like goodie bag from an event that I went to, so I kind of like was like, what the heck? I would never ever in my life buy this with my own money, but now that I have it, I'm like, do I really have the heart to just give it away? I don't know. I think I'm gonna hold on to it because I'm insane, and I'm one of those people that kind of does enjoy collecting makeup, and it does have a little bit of sentimental value. Like, it was something, I don't know, that reminds me when you work hard and blogging, like, you can get cool stuff like this, and it's super pretty, but I don't really ever use it. Maybe I should. I have a few looks on my Instagram, but I honestly haven't touched it since I did those. Then I have these two Milani palettes. These are actually really affordable from the drugstore. They're like around $10 a piece, and the quality of both of these is really quite nice. I should use these more than I do. I honestly haven't created too many looks with them, but I think I might hold on to them for the sake of being able to have something in drugstore tutorials to use for you guys, because they're some of the best drugstore eyeshadows that I have in my collection. So So this is Earthy Elements palette, and then I think this one is, yeah, Plum Basics. So I do enjoy both of these. These are nice little palettes if you're looking for something inexpensive from the drugstore. And then there's this little guy. Oh my god, the Too Faced White Chocolate Chip palette. How much drama did this little thing stir up? Too Faced for the holiday 2017 season released a full-size limited edition chocolate bar palette that's basically inspired or based off of this. Obviously it has some additional shades. This palette caused so much drama because it's so tiny. It was $26. The pans are itty bitty, and the pigmentation on this is not like the best. It's not bad, but they're all very sheer pastel kind of shades, so a lot of people were like, what the heck, how am I supposed to create any kind of looks with this thing? So funny story, like I did a review of this when I first got it on my blog, and I did some looks with it on my channel, and it's been like one of the most viewed posts on my blog ever. So like I have like a little sentimental feeling towards this palette because it is something that brought me, I would say, some level of quote-unquote success in my blog, but it's not something I use very often. I mean, dang, it's cute. It will look really nice as a prop in photographs. Is that really a reason to keep an eyeshadow palette? I don't know, maybe as a blogger, but like I would say, okay, like if you can still buy this, like don't go buy this. It's not worth it unless you're someone that has a very fair complexion and really enjoys very minimal makeup, a light shimmer, just like a light wash of color, then this might be right up your alley. But if you're someone that has a slightly deeper skin tone or prefers more pigmented shadows, this probably will not be worth your money even a little bit. I would recommend the Huda Beauty like little mini palettes over this one because they're basically about the same price. Alright guys, so this is everything that I'm keeping eyeshadow wise. Don't judge me too hard. I know. It's ridiculous. It's a lot. But I love eyeshadow so freaking much. So yeah. And then over here, this little pathetic pile is what I am going to be getting rid of. Probably just throwing away the Naked palette because I don't know, it's really old. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable giving that to somebody else, but everything else is new enough that I will find it a new home. And there you have it, day number 3 down. Eyeshadow palettes decluttered. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing like everything that's in my collection. I know that I'm starting a new series this year called One Palette 3 Ways, where I'm going to be picking a new eyeshadow palette every month to do 3 looks with. So now you guys have seen everything that I have. If there's a particular palette that you would like me to use in that series, let me know in the comments down below. It's always so helpful to have feedback from you guys so I know which products you're most interested in. If you enjoy these makeup collection and declutter videos, please give this one a thumbs up. I really appreciate your support. It helps me out a ton. This YouTube algorithm is a pain in the butt, so every little bit of engagement means so much to me. And if you're not already subscribed and you want to see the rest of my declutter videos this week, make sure you click that button before you click out of this video. And yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in tomorrow's declutter video. Bye.